Upsize your creativity with the all-new, all-smart Innovus NQ1700E, only from your friends at Brother. Demo one at your Brother dealer today.
Hello, Brother Sewing and Crafting family. I'm Brother Brand Ambassador Angela Wolf, and I am so excited to be at your side virtually. So, Brother, thanks for letting us take over your page. We are live streaming on Brother Sewing and Crafting, Facebook and YouTube channels, so you can ask questions, make comments. We're dyeing fabric here today, so you might see some things behind me, and everybody might be wearing gloves, and just know that it's just a fun time of dyeing. Everyone might look like they're cooking or baking. It's all good. But we have a fabulous educator today, and wait till you see her project. Speaking of Halloween, think of candy, think of pumpkins. Let's bring up Jennifer. How are you, Jennifer?
I'm good. How are you, Angela?
Good. Great to see you. So I see the whole Brother family rolling in. Those who've never been here before, be sure to say hi, say where you're from. You never know. Your neighbor might be sewing or crafting next to you. But Jennifer, I'm so excited about your project.
Yes, I am too. I love Halloween. Next to Christmas, I love decorating my whole house for Halloween. And so I came up with a little project you can make for your friends or to decorate your living room. I made this little cute coaster mug rug, and I used my Scan & Cut DX and my Luminaire. So I thought I'd show you how to do it. It even has glow-in-the-dark thread is the background. So when you turn off the lights in the living room, your little mat's going to stay glowing.
That is so cute. I love that. So you're going to be using the Scan & Cut and the Luminaire, but somebody that are using My Design Center, is it something that someone else could use if they don't have the Luminaire?
Yes, if you don't have the Luminaire, you could do it if you have My Design Center. I did the whole thing in My Design Center. So if you have the Dream Machine or even the Stellaire, you could do it in there as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I can't wait for this. Everybody's saying hello. And your fabric behind you looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. I had a girlfriend tell me that really wasn't the fabric I used. That's just my backdrop. But
well, it's so nice and clean. I was kind of thinking, is that just a prop?
It just keeps getting refilled.
It does. So Jennifer, I'll let you take it away, and all of you watching, leave your comments and questions. We'll take breaks for those. So take it away.
All right. So I'm going to start by going over to my Scan & Cut. And so I'm going to switch cameras. And I have 3 cameras, so you're going to see me at 3 different places. So I'm going to go over to the Scan & Cut first.
And while as soon as I see her get to the Scan & Cut, I'll bring her back up. I see a lot of you are new to our show. We're very excited to have you. And remember, you can come back and watch over and over and follow along too. So if you're on Facebook, share it on your page. If you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, and you can always go back and watch the replay. So Jennifer, we can see your Scan & Cut just perfectly.
Perfect. So I am using the new SDX 325 Scan & Cut machine. And the new SDX 325 has our new feature of my connection. So I can actually wirelessly connect my Scan & Cut with my Luminaire. So I'm going to show you how you can take a built-in design from the Scan & Cut and send it over to your Luminaire. I'm going to go to the left of my home screen, and we have the My Connection tab. And since I want to send it to my Luminaire, I'm going to choose Send. And from here, I can either choose a prior design that I've saved into the machine's memory, or I can choose any of the built-in designs of my Scan & Cut. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select Pattern. And I'm going to choose the second category here. And then I'm going to choose subcategory number 9. I know that that's where my holiday designs are. And for Halloween, I scrolled through here and I thought that the little pumpkin guy here was pretty darn cute. So I selected him and I sized him down because I wanted my mug rug to be 4 by 6. So I needed my pumpkin smaller. So I'm going to size him down to, I did 1.69 by 1.5, 1.52. I'm going to hit OK and OK, and I'm going to hit Set. Now, just like before on your Scan & Cut, It puts it in the mat, so you can see if I wanted to do a background scan right now with my fabric, I could do that and pre-cut him. I want to make a note here that there's a gray area on the right side of your screen of the mat there. And when you scroll down, you've got a gray area. The white area actually represents the 10 5/8 by 16 mat on your luminaire. So you could fill that with lots of designs and send them all over at once. But I'm just going to send my pumpkin. So instead of cutting him right now, I'm just going to hit the transfer button. And right here, the scan and cut is saying there's something in the cloud that you've already saved. Do you want to overwrite that? Yes, I'm going to hit OK. And it has now transferred over to my luminaire. So now I'm going to go to my luminaire and I'm going to show you how I designed my mug rug.
So Jennifer, I'm just going to tell you, I can see people doing backflips over this. Everyone has been asking, I want to see how my Connect work. And you showed it that was so easy. You just hit a few buttons.
So easy. It's so easy. So let me get to my luminaire.
And I know some of you have talked about getting the new scan and cut that connects to your luminaire. So you can go back and watch this video if you haven't gotten your scan and cut yet and you're trying to remember how to use this. All right.
All right. So over here at my luminaire now, before I start anything, I want to make sure that my settings are correct on my machine, just for my design purposes in my design center. So I'm going to go to my settings page, or my settings pages, and I'm going to scroll to page 8. And I'm going to make sure, I'm going to be using the 5x7 frame, but I want to go ahead and put a grid in my background. I'm going to choose a 1-inch grid. This helps me line things up in my design center, so it makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm going to go into my design center. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into shapes. And I'm going to choose the rounded rectangle. It's got the rounded corners. I want to make the base for my mug rug. So I'm going to choose OK. And I'm going to go to size. And up here you can see the size. I want it to be 4x6. So I'm going to change my size. To 4x6. And then I always center things when I'm done. I'm going to hit this center button here, and I'm just going to make sure my project is centered on my screen. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to touch the line properties up here. And I am going to choose the double stitch. And I'm going to choose black. It's already on black. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to choose the flood fill line so that when I touch the line, it does the whole line. I'm going to touch that, and I'm going to touch my line. So now my line is just a double stitch in black. Now I'm going to go ahead and I want to save this. I want to save this so that I have something to come back so that when we put our mug rug together, we have a final stitch. So I'm going to hit next. And that probably doesn't make sense now, but when we put the whole thing together, it will. I'm going to hit memory here, and I'm going to save it to my machine. I'm also going to hit set, so it converts it to an embroidery file, and I'm going to save that to the memory of my machine. Okay, now I'm going to go to add.
Oh, sorry. That was pretty easy. I have to say, Marcia wanted to know, just real quick, and while you're there, she can even see. She doesn't have my Connect because she has an older scan and cut. Yes, you can still do the same process, Marcia, but put it on a USB stick and then bring it over to the machine.
Yes, correct. You just bring it over to the machine. Yes.
All right, thanks.
Okay. So I'm actually going to hit add, and I'm going to go back to my design center. I'm going to go back to my pocket here. There is the design that we just made. And I'm going to touch OK. It brings it back in. Now I want to touch that and fill that with an outline. Or no, I'm sorry, with a background. So I'm going to touch the background, fill properties, and I'm going to go into the motif stitches, sorry. And I'm going to select, I believe that the one I selected is this one. I thought it kind of looked a little bit like spider webs.
That does look like spider webs. It's cute.
It's cute. It's very cute. And I'm going to touch yellow just so you can see it. And I'm going to touch the flood fill bucket for my background. That way when I touch the inside of my rectangle, it's filled it in for me. So now I have my background. Now I want to bring in my pumpkin. So I'm going to go to shapes, and this is where I'm going to find my connection. So we sent the pumpkin from our scan and cut to our luminaire. It comes into my connection. And if you notice, I don't know if you can see on your screen, up there in the top right corner, there's a little button now that looks like your scan and cut.
That's very cool. I was looking at that going, wait. I don't have that one on mine. That is what's the new, that's cool. You can see it right there.
So when I touch that button, it's going to tell me to just be patient. And these are all the things that I've sent from my scan and cut. The first one in the list is always going to be the last one that you sent over. So there's my pumpkin. I'm going to touch OK. It puts it right in the center of my screen, but I want 2 pumpkins. So while there's a red line around that pumpkin, while that is selected, I'm going to touch the duplicate key and make 2 pumpkins. Now I can take that second pumpkin and move him over here. And I'm just kind of lining up the eyes. It's all by visual. I could scroll in if I want, or zoom in if I want, to see how good I did at lining it up. And now I want to fill in my pumpkins because I want them to be applique pumpkins. We're going to do them with some wool felt. So I'm going to go back to my fill properties. And I'm going to choose just the standard fill stitch. I'm going to make him orange. Touch OK. Make sure I touch the flood fill. And I'm going to touch the inside of each of those pumpkins. Then I'm going to go to my line properties. And I'm going to choose the double stitch. And I'll choose a dark orange just so I can see it. Again, choose my flood fill. And I'm going to touch all of the lines inside each of my pumpkins like that. So now I have my pumpkins, which are my O's for my boo. And I've got my background in there. I'm going to touch next. On this screen, it shows you what's going to look like stitched out. I am going to increase my background so it's a little bigger. Up here, you can see that that is the stitch or the part of the design that's selected. So I'm going to increase it just a little bit. Sometimes my stylus doesn't want to work, especially when I'm on camera. So I've got it a little bit bigger. I'm going to hit set. It's going to convert it over to embroidery. Now we are still missing the bead for our boo, right?
I don't see one on there.
Okay, so I'm going to go to add. Now we're going to use one of the built-in fonts. Oops, I'm sorry. one of the built-in fonts on our luminaire. I'm going to go to the fonts, and I'm going to just choose the first category. I'm going to put B, and I'm going to hit set. I'm going to move it to the left so I can see it. I'm going to hit edit, and I'm going to hit size, and I am going to size him up to, I think I didn't go as big as he can go, to about 1.69 times 1 or by 1.3. And you can use the arrows and again line them up. That's why I like the grid. I can kind of line them up with the pumpkin. And I can choose OK. Now, this is the fun part. Now we're going to use my connection and we're going to send our design back over to our scan and cut so that we can also cut our B as an applique. So we have our applique patch key. And when we go into it now with my connection, we have two options. We have the normal applique patch, which would make your entire embroidery a patch. Or you can actually select which colors to make a patch. So it's going to start with B because that was selected. So if I choose that and hit next, I'm going to want to do a satin stitch around it. But first, I want to make sure to choose the center option here. If you look at where the outline is, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, we can see it. Hey, Jennifer, just real quick, by the way, your camera, I don't know if it's like right in front of you. I just wanted to mention just to be careful because it's like wobbling a little bit. So
yeah,
just
okay.
FYI on that
try
one.
not to touch the table.
You're kind of like bouncing over. So yes, we can see that great.
So there's an outline around the letter up here. That's going to make your entire, if I did that, it would just, the B would be solid. I wouldn't get the inside of the B's cut out. If I touch the center one, that's telling the machine that I want the inside of the design to be cut out as well. So that's what I want. I want it to look like a B, not just a piece of fabric shaped as a B. I'm going to choose a satin stitch. And let me see, just in my notes here, I did a stitch width of 0.8. And I'm going to hit preview. Now, can you see what it did? It now has turned it into, I'm sorry, I hit the camera again. It's turned the B into an applique. So instead of stitching it out as a embroidery, it's turned it into an applique for me to use. I'm going to hit next. And I'm going to hit OK. Now I want to do the pumpkins. So in order to do the pumpkins, I need to select the group function here. I have to get it off of the group function, I'm sorry. If you hit it too many times, you get, okay. Okay, now it's on the B. Okay. Camera difficulties, are there any, or technical difficulties, are there any questions?
No, but you know, it's interesting as I'm watching you. I love when you can go through there and you're like, oh, I meant to do something else. And it doesn't ruin the whole project. You can go back.
It doesn't ruin the project. I just have to remember how to get the pumpkin selected. That's all.
Let's see. Are there any questions? Let me just double check here. Actually,
and that darn camera.
Elizabeth, no, my connection is not available for the Stellaire. It is available for the Luminaire at this time. But you can still do My Design Center, which she's showing you here. You can do that on your Stellaire. Oh. Heidi says you make it look so easy.
I do, but you know, sometimes I get camera flustered.
That's only because we're live.
It's exactly because we're live. It worked so beautifully when I did it before. Oh, you know, I don't want to choose the pumpkin. I want to choose the whole design because we brought it in as the whole design. So now I've got the background. That's where I'm trying to get it to select the pumpkin. My bad. So you can see the red boxes around our coaster. So now when we go to the applique patch, there's my pumpkins, the whole coaster. So I'm going to choose the orange, which are my pumpkins. And I'm going to go ahead and choose that outline too, because I want the whole thing to be the applique. So all of the pumpkin. I'm going to choose next. And on this one, I want a zigzag. I want to tack my pumpkins down with a zigzag because the eyes are going to be so little. I don't want to satin stitch. So I'm going to leave it at a zigzag. But again, I'm going to make sure that I choose that center option because I definitely don't want a whole pumpkin. I want him to have his face. So he's going to have the center. If I choose that, that'll cut out all of his little face and mouth. I'm going to choose a zigzag. And I'm going to change the zigzag width. I'm going to make it a little smaller down to 0.100. And I'm going to touch OK. And I'm going to touch preview. Now it's made my pumpkins an applique. There they are. I'm going to hit OK. Now my bee and both of my pumpkins are now turned into an applique design. Now, if I go to memory, this is my connection. This is what makes it so easy. If I go to my memory, do you see down there the little scan and cut button?
Oh, yes, we can. I see the scan. This is like I Spy. I see the new scan and cut button.
So it's a new button, and this is how easy it is. I'm just going to touch that. Again, it's going to give me a warning. Our machines are smarter than we are sometimes. It's telling me, hey, you sent that pumpkin from your scan and cut. If I send this the opposite way, you're going to lose that pumpkin.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, I know that. But now I want to see my whole design over there on the scan and cut. So I'm going to say, go ahead and transfer.
So easy.
And now I'm going to go back to the scan and cut and show you what it looks like when we bring it up in the scan and cut.
I'm checking the questions. I love this. I love the new scan and cut button, by the way.
And I'm sorry about my fumble there.
That's all right. We know you're in a small space, so no problem.
Yeah.
Arnell, that's a very handy button. I agree.
Okay.
What is the largest hoop you can get from the machine? Oh, hey, do you remember what the largest hoop is for the luminaire off the top of your head?
10 5/8 by 16.
I knew you know that off. I always have to look it up. I always just say it's as long that I could do a whole sleeve. That's not going to help you much.
Well, how big is your sleeve?
I know. How long is your arm?
Okay,
right.
so I'm going to go back to the home screen of my scan and cut. And this is where we're going to pick up our design. We're going to go again to the left of the screen into my connection. And this time we're not sending, we're retrieving. So we're going to hit retrieve. We're retrieving from our wireless because we sent it from our luminaire. And look what it has up on the screen. There's our embroidery design. If we go to the applique patch, it brings up both of our pieces. We have our bee and our two little pumpkins. So now I'm ready to cut my pieces. So I have pre-cut pieces for the pumpkins, but I want to show you how the rotary blade, because this is craft felt that I've cut.
Oh, that's so cute. Well, hold that up again. We want to see that.
My camera skills are not that great, so I'm making sure it's in front of the camera.
But you were able to cut those itsy bitsy eyes and everything. Did you use a rotary blade for that or just regular?
This is the rotary blade. So would you like me to show you the rotary blade?
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
All right. So at my scan and cut.
while you're bringing that up, hey, Cindy, don't worry though. You can still do the same thing that she's doing here. You just have to move the USB back and forth. So that's the only difference. You can
that's
still
the only difference. Okay, so at my scan and cut here, I'm going to take I have the fabric blade in. This is the new rotary blade, and the new rotary blade comes with the SDX 330D, or you can buy it as an accessory for any of the other DX machines. So I'm going to take my rotary blade, and it has a little, I don't know how close I can get it to the camera. It is a little tiny rotary blade.
Oh, we can see that. Actually, we can see it really good. Your camera just zoomed right in on that. And yes, Lisa, it's only available on the new Scan and Cut for the My Connect. So yes.
So I'm going to drop this into the blade holder just like my other blades and lock it into place. And here's the fun part. How many times have you wanted to cut felt or batting or wool felt, and you can't because it slips around on the mat and you can't get it cut correctly? The neat thing about the rotary blade is it doesn't actually push on the fabric, it just cuts. So it doesn't move your fabric around on the mat. So you don't have to worry about your felt not sticking. So I have a piece of, this is just orange regular wool felt, and I'm using the low tack mat. So my felt this is not a real sticky mat. It's my low tack mat with my wool felt. And I'm just going to load this into the machine. I'm going to choose my pumpkins. Touch OK. I'm going to go ahead and touch set. There's my pumpkins. I am going to do a background scan. Now we're just back at using our scan and cut the way we would to cut any other material that we cut, fabric, paper. But our scanner is really our favorite part of the machine. So I can scan my felt in and then move my pumpkins right into position to be cut on the felt. I touch OK. I touch please select, and I'm going to cut. I am not going to do a test cut. I'm just going to go ahead and hit start. And because of the way the rotary cutter cuts, it does take a little longer, but I can't wait to show you how perfect the pumpkins are going to cut out of that wool felt.
I'm just amazed at the itsy bitsy, I call it itsy bitsy. I'm just amazed about the itsy bitsy circles and little intricate cutting that can do.
Yeah, I mean, look at how little.
Yeah.
And you saw I sized him down. He's only about 1.5 inches tall.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. So now, while this is cutting, I can show you. We are going to use the new magnetic hoop. There's a new 5x7 magnetic hoop. And I use this for this project because I wanted my batting to be in there. I wanted my mug rug to have a little bit of poof to it. So with that, I can take these magnets off and I can have my batting right secured in there and not have to worry about any kind of pulling or shifting because the magnets are going to hold it right into place. So for the mug rug, if anyone wants to write down the fabric dimensions, the main part of the mug rug is 11 by 14, that fabric. And then I have 2 pieces of fabric that are cut 11 by 7. And they're folded in half. So I folded it in half, and that's going to make my little envelope backing on the back of my mug rug.
Oh, that's great.
So I have.
Hey, Jennifer, Glenda has a good question for you. And, oh, actually, Sharon wants the wrong one for the second. Glenda says that she wants to know, and you probably don't know yet because we haven't had it that long, but do you know if the rotary blade has to be replaced more often, like a rotary cutter that we do for fabric, or have you any advice on that?
You know, I have an extra rotary blade, and I've had the rotary blade since, I'm going to say I've had the rotary blade since April, and it still works fine. Now, I don't use it for when I cut regular fabric. It really is specifically for those harder to cut fabrics. So your wool, your felt. I've cut sequins, like sequined fabric on it. I've cut organza. I've cut plush type fabric, fleece, batting. So it's for all of those harder to cut fabrics. I still use my fabric blade and my fabric mat when I'm cutting just regular cotton fabric.
That's perfect. And we can barely hear it cutting, like just barely.
It's cutting. It's still working. And what's great is it is quiet and you can still talk to me. I don't have to scream over the.
That's awesome. Lynn wants everyone. Oh, surely no, you can't. Love those magnetic hoops. And no, you cannot use that with a Cricut machine. It's only for scan and cut, which is a Brother. And that's not a Brother product, too, by the way, just full disclosure. This is not that. So this is a whole different cutting machine, and it also does scanning, in case you didn't know that.
So I'm going to go ahead and hoop. I have a piece of, I like the lightweight, just cutaway.
Okay.
Because then I can just cut, I don't have to worry about extra. It's so light, I don't have to worry about trying to get it all out of my project. I have just a piece of scrap batting. And I'm sorry I can't show this on the camera. I only have the 2 cameras. I would really make you seasick if I had 3. So I'm just going to put these pieces in my magnetic hoop.
I was just listening up like, I love that sound. So you're putting the batting into the hoop right now.
Yes, I will put it up on screen here. I put the fabric layered with the batting and my stabilizer in my magnetic hoop.
Okay, so you have the fabric on the top, stabilizer on the bottom, and where's the batting?
And the batting is in between.
Okay, great.
So I got my 3 layers, kind of like a quilt sandwich, but my backing is my stabilizer.
Perfect.
Okay. So I'm going to go back over to my luminaire. And I will do my best to not bump the camera.
Oh, Judy, the magnetic frames are awesome for embroidering towels. Actually, it's great for a lot of different projects, the magnetic hoops. So you might want to try them. And they're also good on other machines. The twigs are good on other machines besides the luminaire, too.
So at my machine, one more step I'm going to do is, because I'm using the 5x7 hoop, I need to rotate my design so that it fits in the hoop. So I'm going to touch embroidery. Otherwise, it will give me that message that I need a bigger hoop. So I'm going to go to layout and I'm going to rotate my whole design 90 degrees. Again, I always hit the center button to make sure my design is centered. I'm going to put my hoop on. Now, I am actually going to show you one more thing I should have showed you on the last screen. It's going to do my outline, but I wanted to
really good. You know what? Hey, Jennifer, any chance that you could just hit pause on the scan and cut just for a minute?
Yes, I can.
Then we could hear you better. Thank you. Thank you.
There we go. How's that?
That's perfect. All right.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to return to the last screen because I do want to show you. Here we have a new button where we can change the order of our stitching. So I want to move my mug rug up to the beginning because I wanted to put my background fill stitch underneath my pumpkins. I don't want it to stitch over my pumpkins. So now I've just changed the embroidery lineup. And let's see. What's it going to do to me here? Okay, so for some reason, my luminaire this time has put the applique before my background stitch, but that's easy. We all know how to advance through your design. So I'm just going to do the plus and minus, and I'm going to advance to my yellow because I want the background stitch first. That's as easy as that is. And how are we on time, Angela?
You're doing great. Actually,
okay.
You had a few comments because some people said, you know what? I love it when something doesn't go exactly perfect because then we can see how to fix it. So
yeah, and I'm never perfect.
You are.
And it always seems to happen when I'm on camera.
Oh, of course, because it's live. But that was a great somebody who didn't know how to go forward. Thank you for showing that. So
yeah, so now the first step is I'm just gonna go ahead and do that background stitching.
I agree, Karen. She says, I love this machine. I agree. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And
all right, you're stitching the placement line right now, right?
I am stitching, actually I'm stitching the background.
Oh, okay.
My background motif first because I want my pumpkins over the top of that.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't want my motif to stitch over my pumpkins because that would look kind of silly. So it's going to stitch my background. And it says this whole thing is supposed to take 10 minutes. So do we have any other questions while that's stitching?
Let me just check.
Or the whole design itself should take 10 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. Everybody's talking how great the rotary blade is. I agree.
And again, technology while you're on camera.
Oh, thanks, Tanya. This is my ruche tee that I'm wearing. I know. I had to wear something really mucky, so in case I get more dye on it, it'll just blend in. Welcome, Susan. She just got here and shared. And if you share it, then you go back and watch this from the beginning. Hey, Jennifer, can we just see that embroidering? Can your camera angle that way or no?
Yes.
And Shirley can use any fabric. For the rotary blade, I've watched some of the educators use felt. We've used, actually, I think Cindy used chiffon or tulle, something really thin. It was beautiful.
How's that look?
That's Angela? Great. I like the angle. It's like a new retro. It's perfect.
And my machine is I just think my technology just doesn't want to play nice this morning.
Hi, Arlene. Oh, we just got a great view of the automatic needle threader.
Needle threader. I was just going to say, we all love our needle threader.
Oh, Shirley. Shirley says, can you make this in a larger size? Absolutely. You could make this any size that would fit into your hoop, correct? So like you could do a placemat if you want.
You could do a placemat, yeah. And you could, the nice thing with the Scan and Cut built-ins, the nice thing with the Scan and Cut built-in designs is I made it really small. You can make them, you know, as big as you'd like on your mat. You can cut up to 12 by 12 or 12 by 24 if you've got the 12 by 24 mat. So you could make these pumpkins really large. And you could put them on a mug rug. You could put them on a placemat, like you said. You could do a table runner. You could even put it on a trick-or-treat bag. I mean, there's so many ways to use your Scan and Cut. Creativity is like, it's up to you.
I see a few more people roaming in. Is moving the stitch order available only after adding the Scan and Cut? No, if you're embroidering, then you can use it anytime. Like Jennifer, I'll let you pitch in on that too.
Yeah, no, like I had to go advanced to the design or advanced to the background. That's available. It's not just for the Scan and Cut.
Right.
And the moving the stitch order before, like moving my mug rug up to the top, that is on the luminaire. That's not part of the Scan and Cut.
Absolutely. Hi, Mary. Welcome to the party. I see a few rolling in a little bit later. Don't worry, you'll be able to go back and watch this as well. So, Marie, I think she just showed that, but she'll be showing it again.
What's
but
that?
How will you finish off the mug rug?
Yes, I will show that. And as soon as my machine is finished stitching, we'll go on to the pumpkins. And I do have those ones pre-cut, so we can use the pre-cut ones.
So Patricia, she didn't show you how to connect the two, the luminaire and the Scan and Cut. She showed you though how to use my connect to go back and forth.
Yes.
And I'm almost 99.9% sure there is a great video on Brother's YouTube channel showing you how to connect those. If there's not, I know there's good instructions. It's basically just connecting them through Wi-Fi, and then there's a few steps. But if there should be a little, not a manual, but a little information on that.
Yeah, there's instructions that come with it, and then when you open, the My Connection is on the SDX 330D and the SDX 325. And actually, when you open the box, right on top of your Scan and Cut is a little My Connection card, and it will walk you through how to set that up. And yes, there is a great video that we did to show how to do that. I'm positive.
And while you're stitching, Jennifer, I want to bring this back up because for those of you that missed last week's show, we've kind of had a theme of fall and Halloween. And this is a very similar, and I'll just bring this up. Oops, wrong one. Hold on, here you go. Very similar, but a little bit different. Again, there's letters, and this has the fill around the outside. So my design center, so many fun things that you can do. Now, my backing is a little bit different than hers because I left a hole in it. So when you see hers is even easier. So this is going to be great. It's a lot of ideas for you, and we can't wait to see what you end up working on.
And you know, Angela, I went on the Facebook page last night and looked at your video for that, and I was like, oh man, she's gonna think I copied her.
No,
but we just must think of, like, you know, we both love Halloween.
I love Halloween, and you know what else I love? I love mug rugs because you can make them other sizes. And I turned this one into like a little placemat that I leave here in my studio, and I have little chocolates on there that all of us in class keep munching on. Right. And I love how you did yours. We both did it differently, though. And that's the thing with my design center. You might say, oh, I got it to work this way, but I didn't follow the same steps. It's okay.
Whatever works for you. That's what's so great about it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to move my camera so that you can see. I'm going to go back to
the screen.
I'm going to go back to so we can do our pumpkins.
While she's moving that back, I'll bring this up larger just so you can see. And then just so you know, the back side, this was on last Tuesday's episode, so it would be 2 episode numbers before this one. This was a separate piece of fabric, just tulle with some fun sparkles on it. I could have done that with the embroidery because the fill that she just picked would have matched that. So nice. All right, Jennifer, I think I see you at the machine. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we're going to go back into the plus and minus. Again, like you said, it's a good for people if they are not familiar with the ability to do this. And I'm going to go back. I'm actually just going to go back to the beginning because that's, if we hit 0, it's going to take us back to the beginning. And there you can see, I think you can see the placement stitch for our pumpkins up there. And I'm going to change my thread color to orange.
Oh, awesome. You know what, Jennifer? Brother's social team is so on it that in the Facebook side, and I'll bring this up so somebody could write it down, they put the link to find out about my connection and how to set it up. Thank you, Brother Sews. You're always on top.
Okay, so do you want me to just stitch or would you like me to show it stitching, Angela?
Oh, whatever you prefer. We got about 10 more minutes, I think. Let me see.
I'm just going to go ahead and stitch it. And in the meantime, I'm going to show you, here's the little happy pumpkins. Again, so because this is on felt, I did not use any kind of fusible product for my applique. So I have just a little glue stick here that I like to use. And I just put a dollop of glue on the back just to kind of hold my pumpkin in place for my applique.
Can it be any glue, like any kind of glue stick, or does it have to be specifically for fabric? Does it matter?
Any glue stick. I'm not even putting that much. It's just enough so he doesn't shift when,
Gotcha.
when I lay him down.
I'm watching for more questions. So those of you watching, do you have any last minute questions for her while she's doing this? I know there's a 20-second delay, but I'll keep watching for you. I agree, Miss Martin. She says, brother has the best educators. I agree.
And then I also cut the bee out. And the bee is, it's just cotton fabric that I pre-treated with a heavy starch. And I cut my bee with my scan and cut using the fabric mat and the fabric blade. Nice. And I don't know if you remember.
Hey, Jennifer, did I just lose you? I think I just lost your volume. I'll ask the audience. Could you hear Jennifer, or did I just lose Jennifer? While I'm checking that, will someone just leave me a note?
Now?
Oh, you're back. Okay.
I don't know what happened. I wasn't even near my computer and the mute button was on.
That's all right. It's because we're live and you're making pumpkins. It's Halloween.
Wait, I guess I got something spooky in my sewing room, I guess.
Spooky. I've got one question for you here that I'll bring up when you're ready, though.
So this is cut, and if you remember when we brought our design over to the scan and cut, we had the option to cut the pumpkins or the bee. So then I just went back and I cut the bee after I cut my pumpkins.
Great.
So you had a question, someone had a question, Angela?
Yeah, so, Marcia, the stylet she's using is not a brother product, but if you message me, I could probably let you know what it is. I know, everyone's loving your stylus that you're using.
I know. So I'm gonna just bring this in front of the camera. There's my pumpkins there. That's my placement stitch. And now I'm just gonna take my little pumpkins that I cut, and look how perfectly.
Oh, wow.
The scan and cut cuts those. I mean, it's a perfect fit. So I'm going to put both of my little pumpkins down.
Oh, while she's doing that, I see a few more questions rolling through.
You can go ahead and ask while I'm doing this.
Love the Halloween you did, Angela. What's the backing? Okay, so for this one is a satin fabric, kind of like almost like a bridal satin. And then I added the embroidery on there. And I'll just make this big for a second. Oops, wrong one. There. And then the back side is satin, and it has a decorative tulle on the back. So it's 2 layers of fabric on the back. And I think I have a hole. You can actually see the inside. There's the hole on the inside. Yeah. So a little bit different than hers.
So now it's tacking down my pumpkins.
Oh, yes, we can see that. Oh, look at the great stitching in the back. It looks wonderful.
So it does the tack down stitch, and then it will do the zigzag, and then we'll do the beat, and then we're ready to finish it.
That sounds good. I see. Just a quick question, because I think this is more pertaining to the luminaire.
Of course.
Let me just find this again. So Hutchinson says they saved the pumpkin to the USB. Now it is FCM. Do I change this to SVG, or does that matter?
The pumpkin to the USB.
You know what, Hutchinson, leave a little bit more information on there so we understand exactly what. So I'm thinking she's saying she saved the pumpkin from the scan and cut.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to bring it to, this is what you're showing is literally the luminaire and the scan and cut talking to each other. So I think that's
yes, exactly. So if I wanted to take this pumpkin, there's a lot of ways I could do it. I could, you could save it and draw it.
There's other ways to do it though.
There's a lot. There's other ways. If she puts her question, I will answer the question a little later, because I can actually give her directions, you know. But it's not. There is a way to do it without the My Connection link. It's just the My Connection is our newest feature, and I really wanted to show
the newest. And actually, we have had, I shouldn't just say but we have had so many emails, people asking, please show My Connection. So we're so excited to see this in action.
Yeah, and it's really makes it kind of fun to use all the designs together. Okay, and now it's going to stitch my zigzag.
While she's stitching that, I did put Brother Sew's website down below. So don't forget, if you want that rotary blade, contact your local Brother dealer or the new Scan and Cut, of course, or the luminaire. But also on Brother Sew's, they have some new blogs up that you might be interested in. So if you scroll to the bottom of the page, there's Brother Sewing and Brother Crafting, and they have new things showing up there all the time.
So we might go a little bit over, Angela. Is that okay?
Oh, that's okay.
There's just a few more stitches.
Oh, thanks, Shirley.
While that continues to stitch, I can come back on camera and answer questions, or we can chit chat.
I'm scrolling through the questions here that we have.
I feel kind of silly just sitting over there by myself.
Watching it embroider?
Watching it embroider.
I'm just checking. There aren't too many questions. Everybody's like just following along. They love it. And a lot of people here have different machines too. So April says FCM, fancy cutting machine.
Fancy cutting machine. Oh, I like that.
I like that, April. That was really cool.
So one of the ways that I would do it would be, since we got a few minutes here, is I would bring my design up and size it to whatever size I needed, and then I can actually draw that on my Scan and Cut. So I could put a piece of paper on my low tack mat and draw out my design, your pumpkin or whatever you're doing, and then you can, if you have the luminaire or the Dream Machine, you can scan that into your My Design Center. So that would be a way. You could also then draw it and then scan it into your Scan and Cut and save it as a JPEG and bring it into your My Design Center.
That's how I was thinking. If like the first
you
thing
always get a really clean image that way.
Yeah. And then because you could use a Scan and Cut to draw, that's so simple. Scan it in,
Yes.
or with the still air, take a photo with the new app.
Right.
A lot of options.
The app. So there's lots of ways to use the two machines together.
Sharon, can I get the rotary cutter for another Scan and Cut? Is it just DX models that can do the rotary blade? Do you know?
The rotary blade will work with all of the dealer model DX machines.
There you go, Sharon. That's what I meant. Dealer model DX.
Yes.
Thank you.
So if you have the 225 or the 230D, you can get the rotary blade for those.
Awesome.
So I'm going to go back over and I'm going to stitch my B.
Okay.
I'm just going to go ahead.
April, I borrowed the FCM words. I need all the help I can get. I love that.
I'm just going to do the B and then I will put the camera back on when we're ready and I'll show you how to do the back. Super simple.
All right. So while she's gone, I'll just double check. So I know some of you, I saw a few more questions coming through. As soon as I see her come back, I'll bring her up. So you wanted to see this fabric a little better. I don't have another camera set up, so I'm just gonna have to hold this up. So this was an orange satin fabric. You can see that. And this here was tulle. So that's what I was trying to explain. It's two different fabrics. Actually, that would make a nice sleeve, wouldn't it? And then I left a little opening. I didn't stitch it closed because how could I teach you if I stitched it closed? I pressed it though, and you can't even tell. So yes, that's the difference. She's going to be doing an envelope backing. So I think I see. Oh, Lynn, are you getting the roll feeder? You're going to love that. There's a lot of old brother episodes with that too that you're going to enjoy.
Is she getting the new roller feeder?
Yeah, the new roller feeder.
The new roller feeder, you can even do your heat transfer vinyl.
Right. Lois, great to see you, by the way. Is the 5x7 the only smaller magnetic hoop available for the other machines like the Dream Machine? No, there's the 5x7 and the 4x4, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And those will work on your other machine. The large magnetic hoop, though, Lois, that came out last year with the Luminaire, that one will not at this point, from what I know. So we're just listening to Jennifer Sew actually embroider. Oh, you're welcome, Sharon. You're welcome. And you know, if you ever have a question about if any of the things that we're showing will work on your specific machine, just call your brother dealer. And if you go to Brother Sews, which I left below, you can find your local brother dealer, call them up and say, hey, does this work for me or no? Oh, that's looking good, Jennifer.
It's very, very cute.
April thought your background was a chalkboard vinyl. Nope, it's real fabric.
Nope, it's real fabric. It's just a cotton fabric. Now, one thing I don't think I mentioned was I do put, because of the satin stitching on when I do a applique, I do put a fusible, like a fusible stabilizer on the back of my fabric where it's going to stitch, just so that I don't get any extra pull or holes in my fabric.
That's a good idea.
That's just something I do. It's not required.
Hey, Jennifer, do you have a website? Somebody was asking if you have a website with a blog or anything they can go to.
I don't. I've thought about doing that, but I don't. But the Brother Sews has a blog that you can go to off of the Brother Sews website. And I think I've done a couple projects on there, but there's all kinds of fun projects and blog posts that you can get there as well.
A lot of great projects. And also you can go back if you're new to our At Your Side Virtually. There are a lot of old episodes that Jennifer has been on showing the scan and cut and a lot of really fun projects.
This is almost done. And we're only 1 minute over, and there's only...
I know, Mary, so many different things. So you could take what she's doing here for any holiday. That's why I love the mug rugs.
Yes, because
organized.
If you saw on the scan and cut, there's Christmas designs, there's birthday designs, there's, you have almost 1,400 designs.
So Patricia's been asking, she wanted to know how to get her Luminaire connected to the scan and cut, and she did it during the show. So good job, Patricia.
See how easy it was?
Yeah. So Hutchinson, is there an update to older scan and cuts? You have to go on the Brother Sew's website and look up your specific model, and it will tell you if your model has an upgrade. Update.
Okay, so we're ready to do our back.
Okay.
So here's how I do. Now I'm hoping you can see this.
I have the two really well.
I have the two pieces that I showed you that are 11 by 7 and they're folded in half. So the way I do this is I'm going to put one over the top of my design. Now these are cut way bigger than they need to be, but I did that just so that I knew I'd be safe. So I'm going to put one over the top with the fold. My fold is over here on this side. And then I'm going to put the other one over the top of that one. With the fold pointed towards me. And that's going to make my envelope back. So I'm going to go ahead and change back to my black. And we'll use that fancy needle trimmer again. Or needle threader again. Needle trimmer. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead.
Oh, great idea, Marcia.
Now, one last trick is I have some tape here. And I'm going to take on either side of my envelope back. I'm going to tape it because I don't want my, I don't want my needle or my embroidery foot to get caught when it goes all the way around my mug rug. So
that's a good idea.
I can just tape that down. And now I'm going to run my last stitch.
While you're running that last stitch, hey Judy, I just saw you had a question about your roll feeder. Be sure to contact Brother. They'll walk you through it, by the way, troubleshooting that. Patricia didn't realize the activation code was in the bed of her machine. Now she's hooked on Canvas Workspace. I'm with you. Hey, Marcia wants to know about how far did you overlap those two pieces, Jennifer?
About 2 inches.
Okay.
You could go about an inch. It's not like it's not like a pillow, so it's not going around anything. So you don't have to account for, any depth in the inside. Like I said, I cut my pieces way bigger than they really needed to be. So now I'm going to come back. So I've got it in the hoop. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove it from the hoop, and you are essentially done. I would trim 1/4 of an inch all the way around.
So Ibby, the inside was facing up. So she had everything that she embroidered facing up, and then she put the envelope behind there.
So now I've got it's all stitched together. I would trim this 1/4 of an inch all the way around. You can do that real quick.
And as she's cutting that, any last minute questions? I see some of you already left because you're off to lunch. Thank you for spending your lunch with us, by the way. Patricia said she's doing the happy dance. That's hilarious. Miss Marine says, thank you so much for showing the My Connect feature.
All right, so my 1/4 inch isn't perfect because I did it freehand, but now here's my mug rug, and all I have to do is take this little envelope,
flipping it back in right side out. So you're flipping it just like an envelope.
I would give it a good press.
Oh, that's cute.
But there it is.
Super cute. And that did not take long at all.
I know that we're 7 minutes over our time, but really we did all of that in less than an hour.
Yeah, and so we took little breaks. The mug rug pattern. Oh, you're welcome, Marcia. I saw somebody roll in late. Just as soon as we're not live here in a few minutes, you can go back and watch this entire thing over, and you'll get all of the information for that.
So there we are. Cute.
I like it with the white too.
Yeah, and that's I didn't grab that, but that's the glow in the dark thread. So
I'm leaning over to watch everybody's comments. Very cute. Very cute. Great to see you, Lisa. Marcia says, thank you for another great project. Everybody's saying cute, cute. Great to see you, Delia. So Jennifer, this was so much fun. And yes, you did this from beginning to end with a few little pauses in less than an hour. So you could actually make these so fast. I think Marcia said she's making these with people's names on them. What a great idea.
What a great idea. Add the kids' names to them, or, you know, use them as placeholders for dinner or something. You know, there's all kinds of.
Yes. And then let them take it home.
Yes.
A little gift.
A little gift.
Jennifer, this was great. So by the way, all of you watching, you can go back and watch this over from beginning to end. If you were trying, especially if you're one of the new scan and cuts and you're trying to see how that works with your Luminaire, the My Connect makes it really easy. But if you don't have that, just grab your USB stick. You can go back and forth very similar ways, or do what Jennifer said and scan those pumpkins.
Yes.
So Jennifer, thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you soon here. I know, but I know some people will be seeing you in person because you are traveling to events now. So
I am traveling to events soon. So
that is awesome. I'm just making sure there aren't any last minute questions. I know we went over, but I think we're good. Everybody's saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Glenda, great to see you. Love the mug rug. Fabulous. And I put Brother's website below. I have our Instagrams above because we love to see what you're working on. Be sure to tag us. And you know, Brother quite often shares what you're doing too. So that's kind of cool.
Yes.
All right. I think.
All right.
Oh,
thank you for watching, everyone.
Wynn was calling to say hi to you, Jennifer.
What was that?
My husband was calling. That's what I get for turning my ringer back on. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Everyone, thank you for watching us. And we will see you next week. Bye.